Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? This is BC coming at you with another podcast episode. I know I've been hitting you with a lot recently. I've been adding more interviews to go on top of the 2 episodes that I do a week. I'll get right into it. Shout out to Team BC, shout out to Modern Success, and shout out to all the other sponsors of the podcast. But we have Roberto here. He's Southeast Regional Member in Atlanta, Georgia for Team BC. You guys, if you watch the video and follow the process on that sweet mansion that we sold in Georgia, this handsome young man had his sign in the front, and he was our local rep there who officially put it on the market and sold it. So Roberto, man, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
So let's start with you, man. Let's do a quick intro. Right, how'd you get into real estate? What were you doing before? And then we'll roll right into the show.
Yeah, so I got into real estate. My wife actually pitched it to me. I was in the healthcare field for about 10 years. I was in the military for 4 years, got out, got my bachelor's in science, hit a peak with the healthcare field, did a few interviews. And then my wife, she was like, well, you should look into doing real estate. I think you'll do well. And here I am now. Started, been in real estate for 1 year and 4 months now.
Nice. So when you got into real estate, coming in from the beginning, was it, okay, this is what I'm going to do, I'm dedicated, I'm going to figure it out? Or were you still a little bit nervous or hesitant to jump into the field?
I was a little hesitant just because I was juggling with my son. They went to virtual. So then I was juggling his virtual, classes, and then trying to get started with real estate.
Okay. Do you feel like you're working the healthcare and like pharmaceutical? I don't know if it was pharmaceutical, but the healthcare side, do you feel like that helped you at all in the transition as far as something you could bring into real estate, or was it 2 completely different things?
It was, the 2 completely different things. If anything, just a little bit like customer service, but other than that, it was completely different.
Okay. So walk me through and walk everybody through maybe your first couple of months as a realtor, and then, wherever you joined the team along that line.
Yeah. So my first couple months, it took me approximately 6 months to get my first deal. It was through a buyer. The gentleman who actually took the pictures for my business card, that was the first deal I got as a buyer.
Nice.
And then I went a long period until January. So this was November, the first deal I got on the buying side. And then January, my brother-in-law bought a house. So that was my second deal. So there was a lot of gap there too. And then I actually took Loida's boot camp like in February approximately. So she introduced you, and then I was able to meet Paula. So I actually came on to Team BC in mid-May, and then it was much more success since I joined.
What were some of the things you think that you had to change, or maybe joining the team forced you to change and started giving you success?
Specifically for me, it was the point system. The point system, the way it's categorized, you're supposed to get at least 4 points per day. So the door knocking really helped me a lot. I was able to get a lot of those points through that, and then slowly introducing the cold calling and how to get points for that.
Okay, so when you went the 6 months before you got that first deal, and then you said your brother-in-law bought in January, you weren't doing any prospecting or following any of this stuff prior to that? Before you joined the team? Okay, so joining the team introduced like a whole completely new system and way of doing things, right?
Yes.
Did it take you a long time to start seeing results once you implemented everything the right way?
I started, it took me like 2 months, maybe 3 months. I took the boot camp back in February, and then I got my first listing in May from door knocking.
Wow. That's not that long, because a lot of realtors, because, you're still newer. How long have you been licensed now? 1.5 years, less than 2 years?
Like 1 year and 4 months.
A lot of people will tell me almost like, oh, it's going to take a couple months to get a deal. And I tell them, is that really that long? You're brand new. You're starting a business. Everything is new. If it takes you 2, 3, or 4 months to get a deal, that's not that long. Especially when you talk about like the commission checks. Like, what's the average price point for you where you're at in Atlanta?
I would say low 300s, high 200s, but like the listing I have now that's pending is 375. So there's like, a gap there.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So you have the average price point. Let's say you make 3% on that. It's pretty good. Even if your broker takes 20, 30%, that's a substantial check for most people. So for people that have to only wait a couple months for that, like I don't understand. So for you, the implementation of it, it sounds like to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you doing the door knocking and cold calling, maybe it wasn't that difficult. You just started doing it, right?
Right.
Why do you think, and this is a very important question, right? Why do you think it was so simple for you to implement? And when I give this advice to a room of 1,000 people, nobody does it. Why?
I mean, God, I think for me it was like, man, I gotta get this ball rolling so that way I can provide for my fam. I think that was the motivation thing, the motivation that kept me going and kept doing it regardless of if it was raining or snowing or sunny skies.
So you would say more like your wife and your kid, kind of that purpose behind it, right? I like that word better than motivation, but I get what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
If somebody's listening and they say, well, Roberto, I don't have, a wife and kid, I can't find what moves me. Do you have any wisdom for them or advice that you would give them to find that in order for them to, be able to move forward every day like you do?
Well, if they're not in the situation I'm in, I would say, you know, obviously have your goals, your long-term goals, and everything you're doing. Right now, whether it's door knocking or cold calling, think about that long-term goal you want to, you want to get. That way you stay, in motion without any, hiccups of not prospecting.
Because you would attribute that as the most important thing is just your consistency. You show up every day, you knock the doors, you make the calls, you do what you're supposed to do. And because of that, you're getting the results, right?
Right. Right.
I guess the follow-up question, and this is a key distinction that people can make, would you consider yourself a person who more is motivated by like having your back against the wall and like maybe you want to get away from pain, or do you find yourself pleasure driven, or like the goal or the shiny object attracts you? Which one do you think you are?
I think the shiny object keeps me moving. Being against the wall, that doesn't do it for me because it's like I feel like when I'm in that position, I'm not prospecting. So just being consistent with the prospecting, I'm looking forward to the next deal or the next wave of deals.
Yeah. And I think they classify that going away from pain or towards pleasure. So you would say you're more of a towards pleasure type of person. And I'm bringing that up because I think it's important. A lot of people, they don't realize what really moves them. And, when I started, I for sure went towards pleasure, but also I noticed that, getting away from pain motivated me too. So it was almost like both of them, definitely more towards pleasure. And that's why I always tell people, and I don't know if you did this, you can add to this. Like if you look at a lot of my newer stuff, I always carried pictures with me and I had them on the wall, of nice suits. It wasn't just money, but it was symbols to me that were important, things that I wanted to accomplish, who I wanted to be, right? Do you have stuff like that? And did you, keep a diary? Did you do any of that basic stuff that, you always hear in the videos? Oh, do this, focus on your goals. Like, do you do any of that stuff or no?
I need to start the diary, so I don't have the diary yet. But some of the things that I do is like I write what my goals are in the next 6 months, and then I go over those at least twice a week just to keep myself, on track with my schedule.
Cool. So now you told us how the beginning went. Give us an update now, like how have the last maybe 90 or 120 days looked at for your business, and what does the next 30, 60 days look like, so we can get an idea of where you started and kind of where you're at now.
Yeah. So in May, I got my first listing from door knocking. That I was already in touch with Paula with Team BC. So I was able to get after that deal, I door knocked around that neighborhood, my first listing, and I found a gentleman who wanted to sell that, and so I presented that house to my first listing.
Nice.
So he bought it, double ended that deal. And then I jumped onto Team BC in June. I helped the family sell, and then they purchased. Um, and then let me see, I have a buddy of mine who wanted me to sell his house. And then like this month has been the best month for me since I started real estate. I have one current listing that's getting ready to go under contract in the next couple of hours. And then I got another listing for December 1st. And then another one that's going to go live this month on the 29th. So uh, three deals here in the next 30 to 35 days, um, going live with listings, um, and just keep doing that. I keep doing the prospecting, so I should have another 3 or 4 deals in the next, um, I would say 60-65 days.
Awesome, man. And that's good to hear because, the average agent is only selling like 3, 4, 5 houses a year. So for you to do that in a month this quickly is amazing. Are you mostly 100% like listing focused? Like, do you just go after listings and that's really what you focus on?
Yes, that's like my primary goal. Out of the Since the year began, I was actually doing the list. 5 of my deals were listings, and 2 of my deals were from the buying side.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what would you say is your biggest like lead sources right now? I know you mentioned you go door to door and you do some calls. Is there a specific type of niche that you're focusing on, or what does that look like?
Um, no, I mean, the thing I do mostly is now I'm implementing more cold calling, and that's helped. I target those for sale by owners. Um, the thing that I like to do is always use like those big signs, and then with my information,
Yeah.
and that's the. I mean, I haven't gotten to the 100% of the information, but this current listing that I have live, the lady called me and said that her daughter was keeping an eye on me. So I still got to get all the full story because it's in the same city where I recently closed the deal. So if I had to guess, it was probably from that sign.
Wow, that's funny. Um, let's see. You've been doing your thing. What's next? Right. Obviously, I think you're at a point now where your business is growing. You're getting consistent deals. What do you think is the next thing that you have to conquer? And what does the future look like for you in regards to growing your business and your brand?
For me, um, God, that's a good question. Um, my goal is just to get more deals. To be honest with you, Brian, I mean, this is the first month that I've had like 3 deals within the next 30 days, next 35 days. If I could keep this going, keep getting another 3 every month, I'm definitely gonna have to hire uh, like an assistant at least in my state. That way they have access to the forms, and I don't have to send them the specific forms I use.
Cool. So keeping your production up and scaling your business and leveraging. That's kind of what it sounds like, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, man. Social media, right? I've been seeing you post a lot more stuff on social media. It's cool to see how active you've been, showing listings and that kind of stuff. How has that been working for you?
It's been great, because anytime I post a video or in social media, randomly I'll get text like shortly after that's posted,
Nice.
or yeah, stuff like that. So I get some text messages from people who are interested in getting some real estate done.
Nice. Was it a little difficult for you in the beginning or challenging to do the video, or was it just kind of a natural thing for you to get
No,
into?
it was definitely challenging. I think my first couple videos, it took me like 20 takes. Yeah.
Funny. That's funny, man. But you realize the importance of it, so it kind of gets you to push through and say, okay, I have to do this because you look at like what we sold, that mansion, right, the $1.9 million one. Imagine if we never did video for that and we never really put pictures or anything on the internet. Nobody would have any clue that you helped us sell a $2 million house, right?
Right.
Now, what people don't realize too is now your level of prestige in their eyes just went up. They're like, oh, he was involved in like a sale of a $2 million house. And the message you like, oh man, I thought you were new. Now all that goes out the window and they look at you like the real deal because your name was associated with that. Well, how else are we supposed to let the world know unless we put it on social media? Right.
Right. Right.
Did you have any specific responses to that from people? Like when you posted that? Because it must have been cool to take a video in front of the house with your sign and see a big, the house was far in, so they could probably see it, but like, damn, that's a big house, like how was the response from people with that one?
Oh man, it was really good. I mean, some of the friends I'm helping purchase something, they were like, well, what are you gonna do when it sells, or what are you gonna buy? This, that, and the third. And I'm like, look, I gotta sell it first, before
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
before anything. And as a matter of fact, when the current listing that I have that's live, I got like 3 or 4, maybe 5 different objections from the listing appointment. But the lady, she saw that listing. She was like, "Oh, that one was 1.3, right?" And I was like, "No, that one was 1.83." So she said she was very, uh, she really liked what I've done. She liked my resume, in other words. So
Nice.
that really helped a lot.
Yeah. And now any price point under that, we know that the public incorrectly thinks that, oh, if you sold a $10 million house, you can sell a $300,000 house. But we're never going to change that. So now you have more, ammo in your gun to say, hey, your house is worth $1 million. I've already sold a $2 million house. So this is easy, right? Again, that's not the proper way to think about it. But again, we have to be able to balance knowing the truth and also understanding how people think, right? So we can present the information to help them make a decision. And I'm sure that helped a lot with you getting the listing, because she said, oh, you did that. It was a great job. I was impressed. You think you would have gotten that listing if you had not sold that house and she saw it, or no?
Probably not. Probably not. I think it definitely puts you, or at least I feel, it puts you in a different category. It's like, all right, so he did it with that one. If we pay him 6% or 3%, like, he's gonna get it done. I'm gonna get more value from him
Yeah.
just because he's able to, get other higher price points
Yeah.
done.
It's like a big vote of confidence for them, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So from the beginning, when you I want to talk a little bit about this. From the beginning, when you got in contact with that person, did they already know that you represented that home, or did they find out later?
No, they already knew. They already knew
Yeah.
because that she told me this last night, so it's news to me. She said that her daughter was keeping an eye on me, so she already knew about that home, that
Mm,
mansion. Yeah,
nice. Okay. Very
so she
cool.
told
Very
me.
cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man. But it just goes to show how one sale can lead to more and help you get more. So you can literally use that and say, that one deal is now getting me more. Right. And
right.
I think a lot of people, when I tell them just get that first deal, get that first listing, because you never know what that's going to turn into. You can open house it, you can market it online, right? People are watching, you can put it on social media, and it can lead to so much more business. So I'm excited, man. You're doing really well. And I think the future is going to be really sweet for you. Do you have plans on when you grow to that point, maybe wanting to graduate into a leadership role? Or do you think you're just going to be a single agent doing 100 transactions a year?
No, I think I definitely want to graduate into a leadership role, just because I feel like I can help a lot of agents in a way that, before I was with Team BC, I wasn't getting enough information, or wasn't guided the right direction, you can
Right.
say. So I definitely like to, change that, and for new agents that actually really want it, to provide, my experience of how I got my first deals and stuff like that. So I think that would be very useful.
Oh yeah. Well, we need an Atlanta, Georgia team leader. So maybe we'll have to have you step up, bro, and help us recruit. Because I definitely want to get back out there and do another lunch and learn too. Because Atlanta is really a beautiful city for sure.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Any last words before we wrap up? Any tips, tricks, anything you want to shout out? Any new things you have going on that you want to let the world know?
Uh, no, not yet. At this point, I feel like I'm just getting more traction than ever before, and I have to thank you guys, Team BC, Paula, obviously, and it's just a complete shift from my first couple months in real estate to to now. I'm like, man, I should have just joined since the beginning, you know?
Love it, man. It's been cool to see you grow. You know, you and a lot of the people on the team have just been exploding. Like even on Instagram, it's like every day I'm getting tagged in like 2 or 3 listings and sales. I'm like, damn, it's like every day now. Like it's getting crazy. And we don't have that many members yet, right?
Yeah.
We have 30, 35 agents. We don't have hundreds. So I can't imagine when we get to like 50 or 100, how many, you know, sales we're really going to be pushing. So I'm excited to see what like the next 12 to 24 months looks like, because you guys are really doing well. I'm excited.
Yeah. Just keeping at it.
Oh yeah. All right, man. Thanks for jumping on the show. Anything you want me to share, just pass it to me, like your Instagram handle or, you know, your website, and I'll put it in the description on the YouTube video and also on the podcast. Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you,
Cool.
Brian. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. We'll see you, everybody. Peace out. Team BC sponsored Modern Success. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.